Yay, we're on air. So, hi, good evening. Welcome to the IBD Ostomy Support Show. I'm Louise, aka Crohn's Fighting, and tonight we are going to be discussing and highlighting Urology and Urostomy Awareness Month. It's going on for the whole month, so any of you with a urostomy, you may have seen up on Twitter and Instagram, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, of different screenshots of either urostomies, catheters, catheter plugs, night drainage bags, catheters going into the urostomy. So there's been a fair amount on there. Obviously, I'm not big on urostomy side of things because I don't have one. So anything that I'll be given, take with a pinch of salt, but listen to the others because they've been there and lived it. So what have I been up to this week? Well, let's just put it this way. I think me and Rachel are sick and tired of the sound of each other's voices this week with regards to practicing things. In working, I've just been doing a lot, to be honest, and prepping for my daughter's birthday. If you'd just seen me over the weekend, you could have actually colour swatched me, walked me into B&Q and picked out spring rose paint because I was absolutely covered in the stuff. We attempted to make Maisie a bed frame from wood. Let's just put it this way, it's been given up on 140 quid later, and Ben's actually buying the exact replica of the bed to be delivered, and the other one will be going on the bonfire. So started planning, got just over a month to go into my surgery. I think I'm going to miss Bertha when she goes. What happens if my new stoma isn't as good as what Bertha's been the last year? And yeah, that's about it. Oh yeah, Karma done me a solid this week as well, but I can't really discuss too much on there because it's personal. But Rachel knows, that's why she's smiling and laughing. But Karma's done me a solid after some solicitor's advice this week, so that is all gravy. I will pass you over to Steffi. Oh, actually, Graham is also dropping in this evening just after 8 because he also has a catheter, so he can do the men's side for that. But I'll pass you over to Steffi.
Hi, I'm Steffi from Catheters Ostomy. I've had a really shitty low mood for the last few days. Getting worse and worse, which sucks. But then again, we haven't had DBT for a few weeks. They cancelled it for 3 weeks.
They cancelled it still?
Yeah, it's not back on for another 2 weeks. So we haven't even finished the first section. So I can see this going on longer than 6 months because we started in July, and I think we've had five cancelled so far. Lyra Beth started school this week. She went into she's loving it. She cried yesterday morning, but I think she forgot Stephen wasn't there. So she looked round for him and she got a bit upset. Ran back out the line, grabbed hold of me, wouldn't stop crying. And then I was like, the minute she gets inside the classroom, she's gonna be fine. She's not gonna even care in the world. And she did, because she's like that. She's got the memory of a gnat. So I've been doing a bit more things with Jacob. We've been going to like the staying plays, which I find incredibly hard to do. He's at the moment got some constipation issues, which Lyra had when she was little, about the same sort of age. And my GP was fantastic. She was like, we'll change the diet. Let's omit this. Let's take out that. Let's try this. She was like, now I can refer you to a paediatrician because I've done everything I can do possible. And this was all going on just as my bowels started to kick off with my pouchitis. And a paediatrician turned around to me with Lyra and said, stop putting your disease on your child. And I was like, well, it can be hereditary. I was like, and if he's going to have it, I'd rather know now. And now Jacob's getting it to the point that literally, I mean, we both of them had to manually excavate it out, which is disgusting, but needs must. And his has been bleeding since May when he goes to the toilet, and not all the time. He is on, well, Movicol now been changed to Laxido, but I still call it Movicol. And he's got this, it's like a skin tag, and it's now the size of like my thumbnail. It's quite big. I took them to the house today, and they didn't even care. They didn't want to look at it at all. They were just like, go see your GP. My GPs were closed for training, so that was a bit. I was going to swear then. I'm going to try and refrain for a change. That was a bit pants, and I'm absolutely terrified now for ASCN. Don't know why. I'm not even doing a talk, but I'm absolutely terrified that I'm going to say something stupid and mess myself up.
You'll be amazing, and you'll be great on the stand, and you'll be fine.
Worried. At least I'm not doing a talk. Sorry, girls. But
Can you hear us?
so yeah. Huh?
Hey, Graham.
I can hear you.
You can, right.
Hey, Graham.
It's just saying that my microphone's not working, but it obviously is.
It is now, yeah. So yeah. What are we? That's about it, really, from my end. So I'm gonna. Oh, and the fact that there's a really nice steampunk kind of cafe that when Rachel comes up, I'm gonna take her to because it's amazing.
Yeah, it looks well cool. That does. I want to
And
go.
they do peppermint tea, Rach. They do peppermint tea.
I have to have peppermint tea after every time I eat.
Rach, did you want me to grab any on the way on Sunday, just in case there isn't any?
It's okay. I've got to bring some with me because there's loads of Steve's
this time.
Yeah, but you've got some from Cornwall, haven't you? In the box that I've had literally at my house for the entire year.
Oh,
that I bought you proper Cornish peppermint tea.
Oh, have you? Oh, that's lovely.
I told you about it.
I forgot about but you know me. My memory is like, it's like I watch a film and I'm like, oh, I haven't seen this before. Yes, I have, but it's like new. That's like information.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna pass you on to Rachel.
Okay, I'm going to just ask Graham so then I can introduce Anita. So Graham, what have you been up to this week?
This week I've had a quiet week for a change. I've only had one hospital appointment.
That's good.
I had to do a sleep study over the weekend.
Oh yeah, how did that go?
It was different. I had this machine all connected up. It was just for one night, and took it back on the Monday morning. And it says, "Oh, you won't get the results today. We'll write to you in a couple of weeks." So that was quite frustrating. But all it was doing, it was just measuring me oxygen levels throughout the night. Because the thinking, the shape of my spine and the scoliosis, my breathing is not going through my lungs properly because I've got restricted airways. So they want to see what happens with these results, and they think it could just be a positional thing in bed. So I might have to have these different wedges to lie in certain positions, but we'll see what happens with that. Other things, I'm not sure whether I'm getting another water infection. The symptoms are starting to come back again, which I've known through doing the self-catheterization. So I'm keeping an eye on that. And finally finishing my training for the Great North Run, which is on Sunday.
You say training? Did you say training?
Yeah, a lot of training. It's been really, really tough. Sitting in a wheelchair for hours on end. And then I was out yesterday with my parents, and I says, "I need some new trainers for the Great North Run." And they just looked at us as if they think I was mad. But other than that, it's been a quiet week.
One of my colleagues is Powell walking that on Sunday.
Really?
She's in her 70s.
Wow. Is she?
Yeah, she's done it before, and she keeps telling me that I'm not the healthiest kid on the block. So I'm quite honest with her about like my health and stuff. And she was like asking if I feel disabled if I ticked like do I think I'm disabled on the health questionnaire at work, and I was like, I put no, but then I put underneath that I have a stoma and blah 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 blah. She also thinks that we need to have a hoist fitted so that I can, like, one of the ceiling ones, the old school ones from like hospitals and stuff.
Yeah.
So that I can actually do my job when my knees lock up and I get stuck in a position. She's had to help me up when I've got stuck.
Wow.
But, yeah, so she's going to power walk it.
That's amazing. There's over 55,000 will be doing it.
Oh my God, have a lovely time, Graham.
I'm doing it for Crohn's and Colitis UK, and so far we've raised nearly £1,000.
Wow, that's brilliant.
So,
well done.
Really pleased. So looking forward to the big day.
Brilliant. Okay, so hi, my name's Rachel, and I'm going into the presentation mode. I'm rocking 2 stomas. Oh God. Yeah, what have I been up to this week? Man, it was supposed to be a rest week. Oh, that didn't happen. It really didn't happen. It's been busy. I've been practicing, and I've trying to get everything ready for going up to Birmingham tomorrow. And I'm a service user representative for Bournemouth University. So we had like a validation HCPC meeting where kind of a bit like Ofsted, you know, comes into schools, they come into the university. And yeah, they were sort of asking a lot of quite difficult questions yesterday, but it was very interesting. And then today I've practiced my talk with the director at the hospital that I'm patient partner with, and giving really good feedback, but I have to change it because I've become more like a robot, and I've lost my Rachelness in it all. So I'm just trying to bring it back and slow down. So yeah, I'm just busy. I think I had to write a list today of everything I've got going on. Man, now I know what you're talking about. I have so much projects and different stuff that I'm a part of. It's ridiculous. It's really long, and so I probably need to start kind of prioritizing, because I've got so many different jobs that I do. Yeah, that was a bit of a shock today. I didn't realize
How often do I tell you that?
No, I know, but until I actually wrote it down, because I got asked to write it down. I wrote it all down. And I thought, oh, like, it's crazy. Like, September really is like mad, and it's only when somebody else sort of says to you, I think like an unbiased person who doesn't know you says like, wow, you've got a lot on. It's like, okay, yeah, I do. So but after September it should be a bit calmer. So with Steve's operation, I'll be at Birmingham for a while. And what else? Yeah, so I'm traveling up tomorrow to Birmingham, and then we got the ASCN that starts Sunday, so we'll go to that, and we're staying in a hotel, so that's quite nice. Not being at his. Yeah, and I think that's it. That's all I want to say. So I would like to introduce you to our guest host, called Anita Brown, aka
Go for it.
My big fat bladder British tumour. No, my big fat bladder tumour.
My big fat British bladder tumour.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, so Anita, if you'd like to introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are. And we got Anita on because it's Urology Awareness Month this month. So we're talking about bladder cancer, urostomies, and everything else as well.
Nice to meet you, Anita, anyway.
Hi, thank you, Graham. So my name's Anita. Well, really, I'll tell you what I've been doing this week. So Monday, for Urology Awareness Month, I was at Basingstoke Hospital with a bladder cancer information stand, trying to talk to people and have lots of nice cupcakes, and guess how many Smarties were in the jar? And I'm not telling because no one's close yet, so it might be mine after all. Yeah, and my story briefly is I ended up with a rare neuroendocrine small cell bladder tumour. Had 2 lots of 6 palliative chemo, because by the time they found it, it had already spread to my lymph nodes, my liver, my hip bones, my arm bones. So things were looking a bit grim. Had my 2 lots of chemo, palliative chemo, had 3 sessions of radiotherapy, and it was good. There was, no evidence of disease, which is something that we all really want. However, due to having so many operations and so many resections of the bladder, I was in tremendous pain. So last August, I opted to have my bladder removed. And although after 2 weeks, I thought it was the wrong decision, I can now say after a whole year, it is the best thing ever. I just did not realise how many problems I had with my bladder. Hence why I'm so passionate about wanting to promote urology awareness. Things like I didn't even realise, and this might even make you laugh, I didn't even realise I would be considered incontinent. You know, you just, I think as a woman, you put up with all this rubbish and you just think, oh, it's one of those women things that, you know, but no, so now I'm just bimbling, really, promoting awareness.
I love the word bimbling.
I love bimbling too.
I never hear that, bimbling.
Yeah.
Never heard bimbling.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing word.
Do you not remember the Wombles?
I never seen the Wombles, shamefully.
No.
No.
Oh,
No.
you'll have to YouTube them. They're bound to be on YouTube. You have to watch the Wombles.
Okay, I will watch bimbling.
Did you never ever even hear like the Womble? The Wombles had like a top
I know
10
the
hit,
song.
didn't they, in the
I know the
90s?
song, but
No?
I remember the Wombles.
I never actually seen
I remember
the
it being
programme.
at school discos.
You know what? I'm
Let me
actually trying to
try
remember
that.
the Womble names now.
There was, who was the woman? Madam, oh, for goodness sake. Chevrolet?
I'm gonna Google it whilst we're on. I'm gonna Google the Wombles.
Uncle
See, I can get
Bulgaria.
away with not knowing because I'm the baby of the group.
Oh yeah, does this kind of give away our age then, Graham?
Yes.
Do you think?
There's Tomsk, Bungo, Wellington,
Oh.
Orinoco.
You're
Madame-
Googling this?
You've been
Madame
caught out.
Colette.
Oh, I was impressed then.
Uncle Bulgaria.
Yeah.
Tobermory. Is it Madame Chloe?
That was
Colette?
it.
Colette.
Colette, that's the one.
Yeah.
Orinoco, Wellington, Tomsk, and Bungo.
Wow.
And now I've got Bill and Ben the Flower Pot Men in my head.
I
I've
remember
got that
one
song
time
going
there
through
was
my head now.
a lad I fancied at school, and we're still really close friends now. He's getting married soon. I remember he got really sick once, and not really sick, not like us sick, but he was off school for a while, and I went and bought him Bill and Ben the Flower Pot Men teddies because he liked them. And like must have been 14 at the time, so he didn't really want people to know. But yeah, he mentions them now and again. The fact that I bought him these Bill and the Flower Pot Men teddies. Never did go out with him though. I was heartbroken.
Oh, bless you.
At 14, you know.
Anita, can I ask you, how did you feel when you had to go through all the surgery and when you found out what you found out with regards to the tumour and the cells mutating? And
I have to say, the last sort of 2 and a bit years have been mostly lived in shock, really. Shock and disbelief that it kind of went for quite a while, that every time we went to the hospital, it was just continuously bad news, bad news, bad news. Oh God, it's getting worse. And then you learn to live with things, and I think the only way you can live with things is if you try and put them to the back of your mind and just carry on as normal, really. I started a blog on Facebook called My Big Fat British Bladder Tumour, and that kind of helped me process emotions and stuff, and writing them down. It is always a good therapy. Having the op was, oh my God, I was so frightened, so frightened. And I think if I hadn't have been frightened, there would have been something wrong with me. I'd never had an operation before in my life, not a big operation, not a life-changing operation.
Did they talk it through? Did you get marked up? Because I can't remember if I got marked up, you know.
Yes, I did.
Did you get marked up?
Yeah. And they did talk me through it as well, which was, it was kind of nice, but I didn't want to know the practicalities of the operation. I wanted to know what it was going to feel like, how I was going to feel after. Was I going to be in pain? Was I going to be upset? My big thing, I have to say, I used to work as a carer, so I was used to dealing with stomas and what have you. But it's slightly different when it comes to you. And I just thought, what if I can't deal with it? What if I can't change my bag? I had a port put in for my chemo about a year ago, and to this day, I cannot touch where the port is. It freaks me out. It sets my back teeth on edge, like, completely. And I just kept thinking, what if I can't look after the stoma? What, you know, what am I going to do? Once they've taken my bladder out, I can't go, actually, I've changed my mind. Can you just pop it back in for me, please? And I'll be fine, you know?
How did you feel about that? Because I've had polls up on Twitter this week with regards to just having being told that you've got to have a permanent ostomy. Mm-hmm. So really, any ostomy versus having a temporary one, does that make your mindset? Does that affect you? Did that affect you any more emotionally, or was it a case of it had to be done, so you had to deal with it?
I think when I think back to the amount of pain that I was in, I'd got to the stage where I literally was sat on the sofa every day. I was doped up on Oromorph because the pain was absolutely unreal. My bladder was expelling bits of tumour and bits of things that look like cornflakes.
Did you have a catheter then, Anita?
No, I was still going upstairs and going to the loo, going to the toilet about 8-9 times a night, which of course then would disturb Tim because he would wake up and put the light on so I could see. So it was like, if I'm honest, I had a moment where I just thought, if this is my life, then I don't want it. And that's, I think, when I then decided that actually maybe having the bladder out is going to be the best way forward. So we went and chatted. I don't know, I presume I'm not, everybody's different. The more he went through the practical stuff, and I was like, yeah, that's fine. Because the bottom line is, you know, you can deal with any amount of pain or any amount of issues that you've got because you have to. And I just kept thinking, I can't, this is meant to be about quality of life for me, and having to sit on the sofa taking drugs every day just to survive is not a quality of life. So we made the decision, we said yes to everyone, and then I just put it out my mind, and we went to a friend's wedding, had a lovely time. And then the 19th of August, that's when it all kicked off, and it was all like, oh, scary and horrible.
You had quite an experience, because Anita was in a private hospital. No, you were in NHS, then you had quite a bit of an experience, didn't you?
I did. So I went to a certain hospital. I won't name because that would be really bad, but it's near me, and I live in Hampshire and we're near Surrey. So I went to a big hospital, had to go on the NHS. We only go private because my husband works for Sky and we get free health insurance. So it'd be silly not to use it. However, we got told that they don't actually do these operations at the Nuffield. I would have to go into the other hospital, stay overnight. And when I came out of the operation, I would be in their intensive care. All I can say is, if you ever go into any hospitals and you're private, don't tell them you're private, because the care I got was shocking. It wasn't the best. I was at my most vulnerable. The nurses were bitching about me behind a curtain. I was, after having an operation, I was in no fit state to stand up for myself or say anything. And I was really glad after like 2 days to be transferred over to the private hospital. It wasn't a nice experience at all. And that really marred it for me, I think. And the more I think about it, and the more sort of recently I've become a little bit ranting about it. So I think it affected me a lot more than I thought at the time. And I kind of should have. Go on, sorry.
Did you put a complaint in with regards to those nurses? Because you shouldn't be treated any differently, whether you're private, NHS, or
I know.
An illegal immigrant going in and getting free treatment. Don't you know what I mean?
I should have. I know I should have. The very next day, when there was another nurse who straight out asked me, "So why are you private?" and asked me with a tone. And when I replied, because it was because of Tim's work, her attitude changed completely. Both Tim and Ashley wanted to make a complaint. I didn't, because I didn't want to have any comebacks on me. I was stuck in there for like 2 days. When I came out, I was thinking, yep, okay, I'll write a letter. And then at the time, I just thought it was more important to recover and to recoup and get my strength and not waste my time on something so negative. However,
I would have always thought that if you're private, that there'd have been more
that's
up your arse. so to speak?
Well, no, because the problem that you've got sometimes, and this isn't to demoralise the nurses either within the private sector or the NHS sector, but there are people, especially when it comes to cases of medical negligence and things like that, that get shifted from NHS to private or get shifted from private to NHS. So the nurses automatically get their backs up because they think that any complaints or anything that could be done could potentially be made against them. It's the whole mentality of they stick together and they group together when the shit does go down, and when the serious issues do happen and they know that they're at fault, you won't get a word out of them. It's pretty much the case, having been there myself with everything that happened after I had Maisie.
I mean, they left me in a chair for 5.5 hours. I agreed to go out for 1 hour in the morning, 1 after lunch, and 1 in the evening.
This was intensive care, wasn't it, Anita?
Yeah, this was in intensive care. 5.5 hours I was sat in a chair.
They don't even get you out of bed when you're in intensive care. They don't get you out of bed until they move you down to the high dependency unit.
Well, we got told, because of obviously having the op, I was out of bed. Obviously, I came out on the Saturday, had the op on the Saturday. The Sunday morning, the physios came round and they encouraged you to get up. And as much as, oh my goodness, I felt like somebody had stabbed me. Once I was up walking, I could walk miles, but it was the having to sit up and use all my rolls to get me up.
The whole point of them getting you up now, no matter what ward you are on, is because you can get fluid on your lungs if you've had anaesthetic. If I've had fluid on my lungs both times I had operations, and it's really painful. And they encourage you can have your hips done, and they will get you out of bed. You will be out of bed. You will be aimed to be home within 4 days to a week. Because
I thought that was
it's all because to keep your circulation going. So otherwise, your body's going to just give up. You're not going to get the strength. You're not going to eat. It's going to have a knock-on effect on your mental health. It's all about you. You've got. It's not a case of them trying to kick you out. It's there's been so much research into it now that it's just so much more beneficial that when you've had your surgery, for whatever it is, you are moving as quickly as possible. I was in and out within 4 days.
It's called enhanced recovery.
It's
enhanced recovery, but it's part of, and each hospital is part of IRAS, which is the enhanced recovery. I can't remember what S is, but to do with that, and it's I've seen the difference. Like 10 years ago, they didn't really have it. So when I first had surgery a few years ago, I wasn't out in bed as quickly, but now I like how it works because it helps get things moving. But when you first after surgery, you're like, oh, when you have to like,
trust me, the ERN is the evil sadistic bitch cow from hell for the first 2 days until everything starts to settle down, because it's 12 hours now. 12 hours after surgery, they aim to have you up and out of bed and at least moved and sat into the chair for 10 minutes, then move back to bed, and that's you done for the day.
See, none of that happened. Like I had my J pouch done at the South Tees Hospital, James Cook, and the care I got there was horrific. Now, one of my good friends happens to work now on one of the surgical wards, and if she was my nurse, she'd have been amazing because she is a fantastic nurse. But the care I got on that ward was disgusting. They left me in my own feces for hours and hours and hours because the bowel catheter would move. And then I rang my mum, and she happened to be shopping in Middlesbrough before she came to see me. And my sister answered the phone. Now, it was one of the times when my sister and I were having one of our stupid childish fights, as usual. And she's I don't know if she was a senior carer at that point, but she was definitely a carer like myself. And she just went, "Are you kidding me?" They'd stopped their shopping trip, came to see me. My sister went batshit crazy at everyone. Ordered them to get me hot water. Ordered them to get me fresh bed sheets. My mum and my sister bed bathed me because the nurses got sick of doing it. I was left in the shower by myself, unable to move for over an hour, and I was sent home with E. coli because a student nurse was told by one of the surgeons, "You don't know what you're talking about. Shut up. You don't even work on this ward."
No.
And she was like, "I think that's infected." That same scar split open twice in 2 different areas. when I had my surgery at the Friarage in Northallerton, it was a whole different ballgame. I was in familiar surroundings. I had all my family close by. I knew the staff. One of my husband's cousins happens to be one of the surgical nurses. She's been my friend since we were at high school. So she'd been there throughout my entire point of being sick to getting my stoma. I woke up in recovery, and I was like, you need to ring security now and let them know I'm awake. And they were like, what do you mean? I'm like, just ring security and tell them I'm awake. So the next thing I know, my dad, who's security at the hospital, and my husband are there waiting for me at the ward. I've got photos of Stephen giving me a massage. I've got a stupid photo of my dad in his uniform grinning because he was like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you taking a picture of yourself just after your surgery? Blah, blah, blah. I didn't have any pain at all. They were like, they let me try and eat some tea. My stoma nurses were like, you know, I was very anal about the food at first. And they were like, just eat whatever, you know, just we'll see you in hospital. You know, if you think something's going to go wrong, you're here, you're safe. I was walking by the next morning. I didn't have to get out of bed if I didn't want to, other than to do the walking exercises with physio. I had my surgery on the Thursday. I was home by the Monday.
Wow.
Mainly because, you know, the Tuesday was the junior doctor strike. I watched all of the consultants and the registrars running around like headless chickens because there was no junior doctors on.
I must have been in similar time as you, Steffi, because from 2000, what year was that?
2016.
Yeah, that was the year when I was in for most of that year. I was in for 8 months with all the sepsis and refashion surgeries on my stoma, and I saw nearly all of the junior strikes. I was in hospital for them. Oh, it was a nightmare on the wards. It was it
was hilarious. Like,
nightmare.
I'm friends with one of the registrars. I mean, he's just moved down south now, but like we were just laughing because my friend Louise, she'd just been moved back down from high dependency, and we were just like, I wasn't supposed to be going to visit her because she was supposed to be resting, and I use quotation marks because I get a text message going, why aren't you down here? Why aren't you coming to see me? So I'd be like hiding behind magazines going past the nurse's station, and like, but the care was absolutely different. And this is a hospital they seem to be wanting to systematically shut down. Like, the care I got when I had my cesarean with Lyra Beth was phenomenal compared to the atrocity I had with Jacob up at James Cook. So, Graham, you're lucky with being a bit further north. Just outside of Teesside. You're safe because you're outside of Teesside.
You're two northerners, and then there's 3 southerners. Actually, I'm Welsh, so I'm out of it.
Yeah, you don't count. You're Welsh.
I must be lucky. I've got really good hospital teams. I'm under 2 different hospitals, but they're only like 2 miles apart from each other, but part of the same trust. And the care I get with both of them really good, especially with urology these days. Because I've had
you did have a bad experience though, didn't you? A couple of months back, I remember you saying.
I did a few months ago with the stoma care, but that was soon sorted out. But a few years ago, just before I started the self-catheterization, I had been admitted to the kidney ward because of all these water infections I was getting. And it was the kidney team that decided that I should self-catheterize. And they says, oh, we'll get someone to train you. So I says, all right. So a couple of hours later, one of the nurses came back and she says, there's a box of catheters. Someone will be with you soon. 3 days later, no one had turned up. And one of the nurses says, have you done anything yet? He says, I'm still waiting. Oh, have you not seen a nurse? Has no one showed you what to do? I says, no, this is 3 days. Oh, well, we can't show you because we're kidney ward. She says, we'll get the doctor and see what the doctor says. So they got one of the kidney doctors to come and see us. And he turned around and says, oh, this is a urology problem, not our problem. You need to speak to them. I says, well, I don't need to speak to them. You need to speak to them. So they called urology, and one of the urology doctors came to see us. And he says, well, you're on the kidney ward, so your responsibility. And this went on for a further 2 days. And then finally urology took over and transferred us to their care. But as soon as I got onto their ward, the care was absolutely fantastic. It really was.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
Bearing in mind, I don't really know much about urology side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Is why the hell would kidneys not be under urology as well? Because
Exactly.
isn't that where like the liquid filters through and stuff
Yes.
before it gets to your bladder?
Mm-hmm.
So surely it should be part of urology because it's still all that bit is connected. It's like gynecology have not just the womb and the ovaries and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and like colorectal isn't just like the rectum part. It's all of it, and it goes all the way through to the digestive system, to your mouth in some cases, obviously with Crohn's.
But this is a problem though, and this is where the wards, like if you think of GI and colorectal, there's a GI ward and a colorectal. Urology, like Graham says, with the kidney, I have this consistently when I'm on urology and colorectal, which ward taken. They are not good at working together. So if you're under one care, the other side, they won't come and see you. You have to fight for them to come see you. And I've had a similar experience to Graham. So my experience of the catheters is not the same. Well, I was working in, and I don't think I've really shared this on the show before, but I was working in Bristol Oncology Centre. I was in radiotherapy and I was in retention. So I was 21. I ran over to my to the urology department. Now I lived with nurses and doctors. So I lived with a urology consultant who was my friend. And I was going out with his friend at the time. And I went over she told me to go over there. So I went over there and they were going to show me how to self-catheterize. And I had a few long-term catheters in between to start with. Anyway, so I went there. She gave me the box. She said, Rachel, I don't have time to teach you. You need to go home, try it yourself, and ask the registrar you're living with to show you.
No way.
No.
I was like, excuse me, go again. And so I went back and I should have said no. And I went back with this box, right? And Petros was outside the door. And I was like, there was lots of swearing. I had no idea where my urethra was. The mirror went in the toilet. I was like, and he went, I'll come and show you. Went, no, you're not. I'm going out with your friend and you're a friend. I don't want you to see down there. Like, I thought, how do they think that's okay? And my being a healthcare professional impacted my care. And now I'm kind of glad that I don't have that tag when I'm in Bournemouth Hospital because I'm just a patient. There were so many things that happened that shouldn't have happened because of that. And I was shocked. But I didn't. I should have stand up for myself. Go, no, you show me. But because I was in retention, I needed to have it to be done quickly. But I've assisted.
Sorry, Rachel. I've assisted nurses in giving catheters when I did nursing homes, and I wouldn't. So I've seen how they do it and stuff, but I wouldn't be able to do it to myself. I don't like the whole thing would just freak me out. You need to be shown because otherwise, how is it safe?
How do you know where it is to start with? Because you go like I was like, and then the mirror went in the toilet, and it was just like, and the thing is, maybe if I was shown properly how it was done, then maybe I would have lasted longer with the self-catheterizing than I was, because then I went on to the urethral catheter, which was a nightmare, then a suprapubic catheter, nightmare. But if I was actually shown how to do it properly, I maybe would have persevered with the self-catheters because I was never shown. So I struggled with it.
The thing is, though, and I've got to ask this because I don't know whether it's just weird or anything else, but whenever I have a catheter in, so whenever I go into hospital and they put a catheter in, I know it's there. Even though you're not meant to be able to feel it.
You shouldn't.
And you're not. I always know it's there. The minute you tug on the pipe, I just know it's there. And I'm one of those people, I'm exactly the same versus catheter tube or an NG tube. I want it out now. I don't want it out tomorrow. I want it out yesterday. I hate having it in. But I don't, I've hats off both to Rachel and to Graham for being able to do that, because I can tell you now, if they told me that I had to do that, I'd be going.
I wouldn't be able to do it at all.
You say
Like,
that, yeah,
you know,
but you
You'd have to.
you say that, but if when
no,
you're
no,
in
I'm sure I'd have to, but I'm on the same power with Louise. I remember like freaking out with NG tubes. I remember freaking out with bowel catheters and normal catheters. I really do not do well with tubes. I remember the drain tube from after my last surgery that I literally threw up because I couldn't deal with.
This is a really weird analogy to put it, but believe it or not, I'm quite squeamish, and the thought of having to look at that and get a mirror and search it out when I don't have a clue about anatomy and that sort of thing. Graham, I'm sorry, but you're a man and you have to do the same thing with your winkle. It's just the thought of having to do it just freaks me out.
The thing is, though, right? We're talking about. So I understand what you're saying, but a nurse will show you. However, when you are in retention, there is nothing like the pain you feel when your bladder will not empty the urine.
Exactly.
Oh my God, it is horrific. You will put anything anywhere.
It would.
It's one of the most worst pain I've ever felt, and you usually do it for a reason.
I get catheterized for retention. When I go in hospital, like I got put back in after my stoma surgery within 2 weeks from dehydration, and my bladder had was just in retention, and I was like, and I just cried. I was like, do not catheterize me again, please. And they're like, we have to. Like, I mean, Anita was saying that she was a carer and she looked after stomas and she was worried about doing her own. I'm a carer. I've been a carer since I was 21. I've been doing it on and off since I was 16, 14 even. And obviously when I was 14 and 16, you can't do the same things. You can still like help people dress and stuff, but you can't do the same.
Excuse me.
I have never, ever, ever looked after somebody where I've had to do a stoma.
Really?
Yep. I've done catheters. I've never. I mean, funny story. I work in an extra care.
My mum.
My
mum's got a couple of clients with stomas, and she comes to mine and she nicks the spares that I've got and the like the accessories, like the lubrication stuff and all the other bits. She comes and takes it out of my pot and goes and gives it to her old dears.
Well, I've been waiting to tell Rachel this because I just think she's gonna laugh. Now, bearing in mind, I've changed day bags and I've changed night bags for years, and we have a guy that his night bags are locked away. Nobody told me his night bags were locked away. I just knew where his day bags were, and I was looking at them going, these are far too small. They're not even fitting on the stand. This is ridiculous. What's going on? And one night I was getting really pissed off that it would not connect. The connection would not connect, and I was looking at, why are the day bags that are connecting to these day bags? What is wrong with these? Why am I not doing it right? So I rang the lady that is doing the breaking off run. I was like, you need to come and help me because it's not working. The tap's it's not flowing. It's not. Whereas every other night, I've managed to somehow get the day bag to flow into another day bag, which I don't understand how the hell I've done, but I've done it. And she came in and she was like, why the hell are you not using a night bag? I'm like, well, I thought I was like, I knew there weren't night bags. I'm like, they're far too small for night bags. And I was like, where the hell are they? Why are they not kept in that cupboard where the rest of his stuff is? Because that would make sense, you know? Or why haven't people shown me that his night bags are locked away? Because the guy will just go and attach it so he can go sit in the pub for longer or whatever the hell else he wants to do that day. And it's like, and I felt like such an idiot. I was like, no freaking wonder that I was just putting a day bag to another day bag, and because it was really annoying me that the stand wouldn't because I was trying to push the holes through, and I'm like,
because you can't, it won't go through on the day bag, so you must be going.
Steffi, I'll make you laugh.
Really annoyed.
I'll make you laugh. I think I messaged Rachel the other week because I cover one of my mum's calls, and the chap has the catheter and he has the day bag attached to the catheter or the night bag in the evening. Well, I'll go around and I'll do his breakfast 3 times a week for my mum if she can't get in, and I'll go around and do his breakfast and have a chat with him. I only bloody nearly run day bag over, didn't I? Because he just swaps it over in the morning, he just chucks himself into the chair and just drops it and just lets it all slide down onto the floor. And he's got like this trolley thing with the trays on. So of course I've got big feet anyway. I've got big feet. I'm in this tiny living room. I'm trying to navigate around this bloody trolley with his breakfast and come in with his meds and everything else. And I swear he does it to me on purpose. He just chucks the day bag out at me as I'm walking past to either trick me out. And I nearly pulled it out. And I was like, you won't be doing that again.
Wow.
No.
I mean, like I say, I've been swapping bags for years, and it really annoyed me that I could visibly see that it wasn't big enough. And I was just like, why not tell me where the hell the things are?
I tell you what,
most people don't really know that the night bags, like, it's a lot of people, so doing these urostomy awareness pictures, urology awareness pictures, we're quite shocked that I used that for a urostomy. You can use a night bag, and I think a lot of people that have a colostomy or ileostomy don't know that you can use a night bag. I don't know that with catheters you use night bags. I think until you sort of either work in the field like Steffi, like Anita, like Louise's mum, or you use them yourselves like Graham, it's a world of, when you first told you of catheters or stomas, I suppose it's a world that you don't know. In the urology world, there's so many interventions, and there's so many, it's through doing the photos you get to see a little bit more.
That's what I have to use.
Oh wow!
So you use the longer ones.
Yeah.
Have you tried the speedy calf ones?
Is that the Coloplast?
Male colas. It's new. It's the male Coloplast Speedy Flex.
I use them to come out.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, because they're easier to carry.
Yeah, because they're smaller, aren't they?
Yeah.
I used to use the Speedy Calf female ones, and I also used to use like the Dansac long ones, because when I had to use the small time, and then when you get fitted a urethra catheter or a suprapubic catheter, it usually stays in for like 4 to 6 weeks, and then you change the night bag.
To anyone that didn't know, I told Rachel this, and when I was researching stomas for a post I did on Comfort, and Rachel was like, "Oh my god, why did I not know this?"
Well, I can't remember.
Rachel's had 3 stomas, because the suprapubic catheter is also a stoma.
Yeah,
isn't it, Rachel?
Because a stoma is a Greek word for a mouth and opening, but I never classified like it's a suprapubic catheter or SPC. I never knew it as a stoma, but if you think about it, it is. So when Steffi said it, I was like, oh my god, I never even classified.
Then again, everyone's heard like the stories of in the medieval times where they like tapped and drilled boreholes to relieve let the demons out, or release pressure for migraines. That's also a stoma. That's a medieval stoma. That's one of the first medical stomas that has ever been done.
I mean, obviously, it's a bit of a random question to ask you, Anita. And obviously, Rachel, I know that you have a fantastic relationship with Squirt, but do you find the urostomy quite easy to deal with?
Yeah, I do. To the point where, I can't believe I was so worried. It's so simple to look after. I change my bag every other day. I still have the odd accident, but it adds a couple of minutes on my day. That is it. So easy to look after. I don't know what I was worried about. It looks like a little red cherry. And it's so much easier to look after than I thought. How
does it feel having the only thing that I think I would struggle with having a urostomy is the bag, because it has the tap. And when I've used the high output bags for my stoma, the tap drives me nuts.
Does it rub?
Yeah, I mean, I used to fold it up a bit and whatever. I still swear by when I had gastroenteritis and the extreme high output that I was having, the Pelican high output bags were amazing, but I only had one with me.
Yeah, I'm getting a stash of those for when I go into hospital.
Because because I happened to have some urostomy bags from when we were at Cardiff, I couldn't just go look for the one with the tap, because obviously that wouldn't be correct. But, did you find the tap took a while to get used to, with the clothing, not necessarily the visual, but the feeling of it against your body?
Yeah, I think yeah, that was, I always have mine flipped up now. I wear super huge knickers to keep everything tucked in. They're comfy. I love them. They keep my kidneys warm. It was a bit, the one thing that I think I found in the beginning that unnerved me a little bit more than anything else was that the bag crinkles. And I was very aware that I could hear it crinkling under my clothes. And I was really aware if I could hear it, could somebody else sat next to me hear it? And that freaked me out more.
Did the mucus freak you out in the urine? Because the mucus and the smell freaked me out. Because when you have a urostomy, it's not the same smell as a normal urine because it goes through a piece of bowel. And you get a lot of mucus. And when I have an infection, it smells very bad, very fishy, not very nice. I struggle.
It's almost like the mucus is almost like snot, isn't it? It's that consistency in your bag. It's just like white snot floating. It is disgusting.
That is because obviously it's part of the bowel that's causing the mucus.
Absolutely.
So when I had gastroenteritis, it was just this weird milky, clear but slightly milky colour with just all this stuff floating about, and I was like, oh, for Christ's sake. Like, because it looks disgusting. So anybody that's looking they're looking at, I remember when I had my blockage, the really bad blockage, and I got sent up to James Cook when I was pregnant with Jacob, and I felt really bad for the midwife who was emptying my bag because I physically couldn't move to do it. I was like, I'm really sorry because it looks and smells revolting. She's like, I used to work on a bowel ward. It's fine. I was like, thank God you were my saviour right now. Because I don't think I'd have been able to deal with it as well if I didn't have her. Like, one of my nurses when I was in paediatrics, my lovely Claire, she was like the bee's knees at everything with a shocking bright short red hair. She was just a whirlwind. She was amazing. I used to freak out when she'd come in or when nurses would come in because with having constipation they'd give me lots and lots of laxatives and it would reek. Like my mum and my sister couldn't deal with the smell of vanilla and dewberry for a long time. Because if you remember, like Boots had the room sprays back in like the early 2000s. That is what I used. And like I remember Claire, I was like crying. Claire was like, "What are you crying for?" Like not as blunt as that, because and I was like, because the smell. And she's like, I used to work in a bowel ward for 5 years. This is nothing, love.
Do you know what? I still can't stand the smell to this day. The Body Shop, the vanilla musk. If I smell that on anyone, it's like the every 90s teenager thing to wear. I hate the smell. Anything vanilla, I hate it. I can smell it a mile off. It's when you start heaving, because the thing is you used to spray so much of that stuff, and like Steffi said with regards to smells, you'll do anything even prior to the bowel surgery. You'll do anything to get rid of that smell. It's quite literally anything. Did anybody see that poopery thing I shared on my personal Facebook page? Oh my God. I was watching the bloopers on YouTube yesterday. How the hell that girl keeps a straight face during that advert, I'll never know, but hats off to her. But they had one about dates and about the men going to the bathroom, and the options were sparking a match or your girls in the poopery. And I just sat there and I'm like, how true is that to our state of life?
I like VO poo. I quite like that. But to be honest, when I live on my own and I've got my own suite,
one that kills the fish.
Yeah, I know, Steffi. I know we've had this conversation before. Thanks for making me feel guilty. You know what? I'm not water free.
It's all poopery's friendly. It's all natural enzymes that breaks down and makes the water works.
This is in my suitcase from the Purple Wings, the peel spray that Steve and I love, the blackcurrant osteo peel. Yeah. I think Steffi mentioned it to me like last year.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah. That stuff is really good for getting your trainers back to white. So, you know, if you've got a pair of Converse and you've got the bits at the front and up the side, it's really good for getting the dirt off. I did not just say that, by the way.
But it's an adhesive remover, yeah, but the smell's lovely. So we just use it as toilet spray. But when I'm on my own, I don't use it because I've got an ensuite bathroom. Nobody is allowed. Even my best mate's not allowed in my bathroom. And I don't use anything. But when I go to Steve's, like, we kind of do use a bit of spray.
See, I use the Urostomy drops. But I've noticed if I've if my bag's ballooned and stuff, it does absolutely nothing for the smell. But if it's high output, it's fantastic.
I've been using that Ostogard, the sachets, like the Trio Ostomy Pearls. That stuff's really good. You only need to stick one of them in. Stick 2 in, it clogs your back up. What were you going to say,
Graham?
Sorry?
What were you going to say?
What you were just saying before, when your bag balloons up, the smell, you kind of get rid of it.
No. And like, we've got some like, you know, standard air freshener. And even when you've got the bathroom door closed and stuff, bear in mind I have a nearly 5-year-old who does not understand shutting doors. Like, the smell will just go through the house. And like Stephen the other night just woke up and like turned around to me, have you just opened your bag? I'm like, no, I don't do that when
like
you're in the room.
Do you remember that?
I do that.
I will literally I'll wait until he's gone to work, and then I'll do it maybe. But
I try to blame the cat.
So I've done it in bed before, right? And Steve, because obviously we both got one. So Steve was like, I've done it, and Steve's woke up and he's got like this, and I pretended to be asleep because he thought that he's had an accident because I did. He went, oh, you're disgusting. I went, what? I needed to get the air out.
Right,
I don't want to go to the toilet.
I've taken 2. I've been getting up about 4 or 5 in the morning, emptying my bag, going back to sleep to about 6:30, 7 o'clock, and my bag just balloons back up. It's nothing. It's just the wind. Well, I have to empty early before Ben has a shower, because if I don't stick anything in my bag or down the toilet, that bathroom is like a no-go zone for at least 45 minutes, even with the window open. That's how long it takes for the smell to go. Well, I thought I'd be funny in the week, and I thought I'd burnt my bag in the bedroom, thinking I've got a good half hour before he comes back into the bedroom. It took about 3 hours for the smell to leave the flat. It permeated through to the living room, and I was like, it might have been me.
Because with a urostomy, we don't get that issue. See, we don't get air in the bag, so we don't have to air it, which is interesting.
See, I think it's worse when you've burped your bag and there's no smell, and then you think, right, okay, I need to actually get up now. I should have just probably gone to the toilet.
And then you just in the face.
Sit up and you're just like, bash, and it's like, ugh. So I very rarely burp my bag now. I'll do it. I'll go stand outside the back door with the back door closed, and we've got like a little roof thing that Stephen's built, and like he'll go outside 5 minutes later. Bearing in mind it's got like one entire wall open where the wind just sweeps through. He's like, you burped your bag, didn't you? I'm like, how? I'm outside. How should you even know that? But
does any of you go through a stage where, see, your bag's half full and you've gone to empty it, but there's been no smell at all?
Yeah.
Very rare for me to do that.
Yeah, I tend to find that, but then again, I do eat a lot of garlic, so that doesn't happen very often.
It's really weird though, because I've stopped my immunosuppressants, and I think I'm having a flare because I'm getting that smell back that you only associate with having a flare up and IBD. That funny, tangy smell. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
I've been suffering the smell that you get after you first start having bowel movements after your stoma formation. It's a very hospitally, medically awful smell that nobody can deal with. So and I shouldn't be having any flare. I have no active disease.
I bet the C. diff trumps that smell though. The C. diff is the worst smell in the world. C. diff, ileostomy. Oh no. I never want to smell that ever again. I can't have lemon water or St. Mark's now, because it just reminds me of that time, that 3 months stuck in the isolation room because I caught C. diff off a member star.
Now, does anybody
I
find
need to start having diarrhea again?
I mean, Anita, did you find that when you had surgery done that your skin goes really dry?
Oh my God, yes. Yeah. Even now, not just the skin on my face, but on my arms and my legs as well. I've been slapping on loads of, I think it's Aveeno, and that seems to be helping.
The stuff's great.
Nothing else seemed to help. I bought some Nivea stuff and some other Dove stuff, but none of that took the dryness. And even now, my skin feels dryish and a little bit tough, which It's not good because I always had silky, lovely skin. But then I'm nearly 50, so I guess at some point it's going to change.
You're never
isn't it?
nearly 50.
I'm I'm going to be 48 this year, so nearly 50.
No, I wouldn't have said that at all. I'd have put you late 30s.
Oh, bless you.
I'm not just saying that either.
You should see me with no makeup on. The bags of my eyes go down to my chin.
I'm heading 50 as well.
Are you?
Are you?
Well, I only believe that because I know how old you are. There's a bit of a difference.
When's your birthday, Graham?
I'm 47 in January.
Okay.
What date in January, Graham?
30.
Oh.
30th.
Yes, it's 4 days after mine.
Anita,
Yeah, it's the day after
Steve's the same
Ben's.
age as Steve is the same age as you. He's 48.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm
Steve's
nearly. I'll be 48 December.
okay. So he's 49 this year.
33 on Monday.
Oh, happy birthday.
We'll have the same to you, Louise.
No.
Yes.
It's
No.
gonna happen. At ASDN, we're gonna sing to you.
I ain't giving you my room number.
We'll see you at the event.
Yeah, we're all gonna be at the event, remember? Might just spring
There's
it live.
Oh,
That's an idea.
no. Oh, dear. Right. Oh, God. I was going to say, it's just gone 9 o'clock.
It's gone very quickly
Wow.
tonight.
Very quickly.
Celebrity Big Brother's on.
Oh my God! I've actually wanted to watch that because I heard about the whole drama with it, Graham.
Oh,
I didn't
marvellous.
message. I have to message you about it.
It's marvellous.
And on that note, bye.
Bye. I'd like to say thank you to Graham for joining in so late in the day.
You're
Big
welcome.
thank you to Anita for coming on. Big thanks to Rachel Steffi.
And Steve, we didn't mention Steve.
Oh, Steve, we'll do a
Steve
shout out to
was too
Steve.
busy.
Steve, we love you, but you're very busy, and we hope you rest before the weekend. We love you lots. Sorry if we didn't mention you earlier. A big love to Nat as well because she's not well.
I'm going to get it into Steve later because I didn't mention him. Sorry.
Next Thursday, if anybody is on the YouTube channel and has seen, I've done a couple of episodes run-ups until October. Next Thursday, we are discussing temporary versus permanent stomas. So that's having a pamphlectomy, ileostomy, colostomy, cachectomy. But we're talking about the emotional impact of having what can be perceived as a temporary stoma, with the options of having a reversal versus the emotional impact of going from temporary to permanent, or just starting out with a straight off permanent stoma. So that's what we will be discussing next Thursday. So we shall see you next week. I'd like to say thank you to everybody for tuning in, and to say good night to Paulette because she said bye on the chat, and we'll be back again next week. So bye.
Bye. Bye.